Most people think the Lotus tile insignificant, but it is essential for the unusual strategy that I employ.
To the ordinary eye, it was just a tile in a game. But to those who knew better, the White Lotus was the passcode to communicate membership in a secret society, the Order of the White Lotus. All through the series, several hints were made about the existence of the society through the White Lotus tile in the game of Pai Sho. However, the members didn't properly reveal themselves until the final battle of the 100 Years' War. After helping to end the 100-Year War by defeating the Fire Lord Ozai, they became less secretive, and in the Legend of Korra, their activities become even more pronounced. Despite being less secretive, there's a lot many don't know about the Order. So in this video, we'll be discussing the significance and secrets of the prestigious organization. Make sure to stick with us to the very end, and we'll start from the very beginning. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, there were several hints about the importance of the White Lotus in the Pai Sho game, but the secret society itself was not introduced until Book 2 of the series. The Fire Lord's brother, Iroh, was often seen playing the game while telling his nephew, Zuko, that the White Lotus tile in the game was not insignificant, unlike what many thought. But everything seemed like parables until much later in the series. In the 11th episode of Book 2, where the society is introduced, Zuko and Iroh find themselves in a tight spot when the men hired by Toph's father want to hold them captive. The men had seen their wanted poster and wanted to take them in to get the gold prize, but Iroh and Zuko were able to escape with the help of a man they had met at the Pai Sho table. At the time, viewers didn't really understand what was going on, but Iroh and the man who we later find out to be named Feng had formed the White Lotus symbol on the Pai Sho table, communicating their membership to one another and letting each other know they were allies. From the scene just explained, it's hard to deduce the actual purpose of the society. But before going into details, let's discuss the origin. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, the actual origins of the society were not stated, but it was revealed that the society had been in existence for a long time, even far before Avatar Kyoshi. However, it started as a club where ancient members of various arts could confront each other at the Pai Sho table. The society's name was derived from the White Lotus tile used in Pai Sho. The tile also later becomes a key element in communicating their strategies to fellow members and also initiating members. If the Order wanted to recruit a new member, the person would be approached over a game of Pai Sho. After the game, the potential member would be given a White Lotus if he or she were to be recruited. In some cases, as seen with Sokka when the Swordmaster Piandao presented him with the White Lotus tile, the recruit didn't have to play a game of Pai Sho, but would become a recruit simply by showing exemplary character. As the years went by and the members grew in number, it evolved from being a mere club to being a society that took up the role of sharing knowledge across the globe. Eventually, the society even became closely linked with the Avatars, helping out with the training they required to master the 4 elements and also serving as their protectors if need be. They also helped out in discovering the next Avatar, as seen in the Legend of Korra, where Avatar Aang tasked them with the search for his successor. Another example of when the Order of the White Lotus was tasked with the search for an avatar was during the time of Avatar Kyoshi. When it was time to search for Avatar Kuruk's successor, the White Lotus struggled to identify the next avatar. This resulted in Avatar Kyoshi having an extremely difficult early life. When she was later identified as the Avatar, a member of the secret society was tasked with the role of being her sort of right-hand man to help steer her towards the right path. So a proper description of the Order of the White Lotus is a society that cuts across the boundaries of the 4 nations, devoted to seeking philosophy, beauty, and truth, and also helping the world become a better place. In The Last Airbender, there are several instances before the final battle where members of the society helped Avatar Aang and his friends. So let's mention prominent members of the society while also discussing some of the help they rendered. And we'll start with the White Lotus's Grand Master, or Grand Lotus, Iroh. After losing his son in the failed capture of Ba Sing Se, the Fire Nation's General Iroh decided to join the secret society while on a spiritual journey. Soon, he rose to the rank of a Grand Lotus. Although he didn't help Aang directly until the final battle of the 100-Year War, his training with Zuko indirectly helped the Avatar, because Zuko later turned out to be Aang's firebending teacher. The next member is none other than the Earth King, Bumi. It wasn't really a surprise that Bumi the King of Omashu was one of the members of the White Lotus. Besides being Aang's friend from way before the Avatar got trapped in the ice, and the one who directed him to his earthbending teacher Toph, he was also a formidable earthbender. Despite his old age, he had made use of the Day of Black Sun to free himself and his city from the clutches of the firebending nation, Talk about a tough bender. Also, in the final battle, he used his skills to destroy the Fire Nation's weapons. Coming up next is another prominent firebender, Zhang. Popularly known as the Deserter, he was the first man to defect from the Fire Nation and live to tell the tale. Zhang had been the one to teach many soldiers, including the ruthless Admiral Zhao, the elements of firebending. But after seeing how his teachings were used for evil and destruction, he left the Fire Nation and stopped teaching. Zhang played a vital role in the series as the very first to teach Aang the basics of firebending. While he believed the Avatar wasn't ready to learn the skills, he taught Aang enough to give him a foundation to build on. Although their lessons were cut short, Aang's brief training with Zhang proved invaluable in the future. Right up next is the waterbending master, Pakku of the Northern Water Tribe. Initially, it seemed highly unlikely that he would be part of such an important society due to his sexist beliefs. However, he does later reconsider his views. Pakku had taught both Katara and Aang waterbending, and the knowledge he passed on had helped their little Avatar team overcome so many challenges. Then there's Piandao, not a bender, but a swordmaster who taught Sokka the ways of the sword. Although before the final battle the order was kept a secret, Piandao didn't really try too hard to hide the fact that he was a member. If you're quite observant, you'll actually notice the White Lotus symbol in several parts of his house. The symbol was even on the sword he gave to Sokka. The highly sought-after swordsman had taught Sokka to become more useful to the team despite not being from the same tribe. Piandao was from the Fire Nation, while Sokka was from the Water Tribe. The act of teaching Sokka showed the true attributes of a member of the White Lotus, because, according to their beliefs, knowledge transcends all boundaries. There were other low-ranking members like Feng and some other unnamed characters, and they all came together during the final battle of the 100-Year War. The White Lotus really showed their might during the battle, and that was when they finally revealed themselves. The Grandmaster Iroh had reached out to all the other members, and they gathered together to end the 100-Year War by defeating Fire Lord Ozai. Since it was the passing of Sozin's comet, Iroh and Zhang were able to increase their firebending, and with the combined force of their skills with that of Pakku, Bumi, and Piandao, they were able to help conquer the Fire Nation. It was also during that battle that the uniform was revealed. They all wore an indigo-covered outfit with white details and a cape of similar design, with a mantle of the lotus pattern around their shoulders. However, after the war ended, their activities became more pronounced and they refused to go back to leading a secret life. Unfortunately, this was not good for the Order. In The Legend of Korra, we see them acting as trainers and bodyguards for the Avatar, as well as government officials. But since that wasn't the initial goal, the group got divided as some members believed they should have retreated back to their shell after the battle. This ultimately led to the formation of the Red Lotus, formed by a man named Zahir. In Legend of Korra, the organization faced several issues due to the formation of the subsect, but we won't go into the details in this video. You'd have to stick with us to find out. But the summary of it all is that the White Lotus lost focus once they came into the spotlight. Nevertheless, the role they played in both series can't be undermined. And this brings us to the end of this video. Kindly like and subscribe to get similar content. Until next time!